Hi everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of Mindful Yoga. My name is Angela Landers, and I'm one of the counselors at the Statesboro Counseling Center. I always do the beginning part of Mindful Yoga, talk about some way in which we can use either meditation or mindfulness, and then we will move into the physical part of today's practice with a video by Dr. Gemma Skuraton. So if you were with us last week, we talked a little bit about ways that we can use mindfulness for focus, concentration, and staying on task whenever we absolutely need to be on task, like when we have to do schoolwork or study, things like that. Today, we're going to continue talking about mindfulness and ways that you can use it to your benefit right now. So mindfulness, there's a lot of different ways to practice it, but the way that I want to talk to you about today is using mindfulness kind of as a freeze frame. I once read that in a book where someone described it as a technique that you can use to really freeze the frame of whatever it is that's going on in your current life. So if we think about mindfulness in that way as a freeze frame, then really what we're talking about is honing in on a particular thing, blocking out all of the noise that's around us, and then just focusing on that particular thing. So one way that we might do that is by using our current senses. So some of those senses for me right now might be I'm noticing the way that my skin feels because my room is particularly cold, or I'm noticing the things that I see visually, like the light or my cat who's napping right now in front of me. Or we might have certain sounds that we hear, like I can hear the fan that's blowing. I can hear my chickens outside in the background across the window. So using those senses really helps us to hone in on something to make that freeze frame. And what we're doing when we create a freeze frame is we're blocking out all of that extra noise that we really don't need. So what is that extra noise? That extra noise can be judgments, it can be fears and anxieties that we have, it can be thoughts about the past or about the present. A lot of times we are so focused on everything else except for what is happening right in front of us. So mindfulness is a really good skill and technique to use to be able to just say, okay, wait a minute, let me stop all the chatter, let me stop all the noise, and let me just pay attention to what's in front of me. And a lot of times when we do that, what we notice is that whatever is standing right in front of us is not that difficult. It's not that hard for us to be able to cope with. Now, this isn't always true. There are some times in life where it is extremely difficult to cope with whatever is in front of us. And I think all of us can certainly think of times where that's happened. But day in and day out, normally what's happening to us in life isn't really anything that anxiety provoking or really that scary. But what is causing us a lot of distress is that noise that's happening to us in the background. So what do we do about all that noise? Well, if you're practicing mindfulness, you know that our thoughts don't always just do exactly what we tell them to do. So if you're trying to freeze the frame and you notice that your brain just will not turn off no matter what you try, one good thing that you could do is practice something called stream of consciousness writing. So for those of you who are comfortable with journaling or you've done journaling before, then you've probably had some practice with stream of consciousness writing. So stream of consciousness writing is exactly what it sounds like. It's where you go get something to write with and you just put it down on a pen, everything that's running through your mind, everything that's happening. It's all that noise, it's all that chatter that we really don't need. And so putting that down on a piece of paper is kind of like saying, okay, instead of that swimming around in here in my head, I'm going to put it down on a piece of paper and then I can look at it and I can ask myself, what of this do I need to continue to chew on? What of this do I need to continue to think about? Or you might even notice that when you look down that you don't even agree with half the things that you wrote. Or suddenly you understand what you wrote down really differently because you're looking at it in front of you instead of having it just swimming around in your mind. So I hope that this week, as you move into spaces where you're wanting to really learn how to freeze the frame and focus in on something, that you're able to use this skill. And if you're having a difficult time doing that, remember to practice that stream of consciousness writing. See what happens. Think of it as an experiment. What do you have to lose? I hope everyone has a really great week, and I'll see you back again next time. Take care.
Hi yogis, it's Dr. Gemma Skuraton, Director of Student Wellness and Health Promotion for Georgia Southern University, here to bring you the physical practice of mindful yoga. So glad that you're joining us today. You just heard from Angela Landers talk about being grounded, where you are, focusing on what you can smell, what you can hear, what you can feel. Great techniques, especially during the physical practice of the class. Grounding down into the earth, maybe feeling your mat or what's beneath you with the palms of your hands, the bottoms of your feet, focusing on what you can smell and maybe focusing on what you can hear. Great grounding techniques. Obviously I'm outside, so I might hear some cars. I'll pay attention and notice that, and then bring myself back to my mat. So we'll go ahead and get started with 3 Ujjayi breaths linked together. Inhale through the nose. Exhale. Tongue comes to the roof of your mouth. You make that Darth Vader sound. It's your inner fire, your Ujjayi breath. So let's go ahead and inhale. Good. Let's start with lifting and elevating our shoulders up to our ears, and as we exhale, exaggerate the release. Shoulders and traps are big tension holders, so extending and shrugging up and then exhale on an exaggeration can really help to alleviate some of the tension you might be holding in your shoulders. So again, one last time. Exaggerate the shrug, exhale as your scapula depresses down. Deep inhale, roll the shoulders to the back. Exhale to change direction. On your next inhale, go ahead and swing your legs around. Meeting knee in child's pose. Knees come wide to the edge of the mat. Big toe mounds touch. Extend your arm out in front of you, forehead down to the mat. Set your intention for the practice today. Right now I'm focusing on what I can feel. My forehead against the mat. Grounding down through all my fingertips and the palms of my hand into the earth. And I'm noticing how the mat feels against the tops of my feet and my shins. With each inhale and each exhale, I'm sinking deeper onto my heels. Setting my attention for the practice. That I will focus on what I can feel, what I can hear, and what I can smell. Although I might be hearing the distractions of the cars in the background, I'm also noticing the rustling of the tree leaves. I'm feeling the wind against my skin. I'm smelling the flowers in my environment. On your next exhale, bend your right elbow and plant the right palm on the back of your shoulder. My next inhale, I'm going to turn my head to looking to the left side and bring my left arm behind into a bind. I may be able to reach both my fingers, but if I can't, that's okay. I can allow space between both fingertips. Create space between the anterior portion of your shoulder. One more round of breath. And exhale to the other side. Turning my head towards the right, bringing my left hand behind my shoulder and my right arm into a bind. Remember, we have different sides. Sometimes there is more space and mobility between the right and the left side, and that's okay. It's a different side and a different experience. Embrace where it is. And exhale to release. Go ahead and bring the palms of your hands up. Inhale, shift your weight forward, lift your heart. Exhale, sink back through child's pose. Inhale, flip your palms up. Exhale to shift forward. Inhale to shift back. Inhale, bend the elbows, shift the weight forward. Exhale, shift back. On your next inhale, slither onto your belly, tops of your feet to the mat, elbows close to rib cage. Inhale, lift your heart. Baby cobra. Exhale to back child's pose. Inhale, shift your weight forward. Exhale to lift your heart. Shift back. On your next inhale, bring both arms behind you into a bind. Maybe you grabbed your right hand with your left or your left hand with your right. Either way, it doesn't matter. And on your next exhale, switch hands. On your next exhale, meet me into a tabletop position. Ground down. Palms of the hands into the earth, knees underneath your hips. Exhale, drop your belly, lift your heart. Inhale, pull your belly up, round your back. Extend your spine. Exhale, drop through. Move with your breath. Spinal flexion and extension. Deep inhales, deep exhales. On your next exhale, curl your toes under and press up through downward facing dog. Go ahead and bend one knee and then the other, bringing movement into this position. Remember, the point here is not necessarily to get your heels towards the mat, but to rather bring lengthening to the posterior chain of your body. So Achilles tendon, soleus, gastrocnemius, or your calf muscles, even the stretch in your hamstrings. Inhale, shift your weight forward. You can drop to your knees and lower down through low plank. Inhale, lift your belly, lift your heart. Exhale, tip back. Downward facing dog. Tapping back into those three things. What can you feel? What can you smell? What can you hear? then add in what can you see? What's around you? Focus your drishti or your gaze on one point behind you between your feet. Exhale, shift forward, high plank. Feel free to drop to your knees, lower down through low plank. Inhale, lift your belly, lift your heart. If you're taking care of the low back, you can stay here or you can press up through full cobra. Again, remember that exaggeration, the space between your ears and your traps. Relax your shoulders away. Depress the scapula down. Exhale, turn your toes, press up through downward facing dog. Lift one foot off the mat. Feel free to drop to your knee or keep it lifted. Bend the knee open. Stretch through your hip. Maybe add some hip circles. Change direction. Exhale to plant the foot down. Inhale, lift the left foot up, three-legged dog, and bend the left knee, creating space in your hip. Maybe some hip circles. Change direction. Exhale, plant the foot. Inhale, shift the weight forward. Exhale, lower down through low plank. Inhale, lift the heart. Baby cobra, full cobra, or upward facing dog, thighs off the mat. Exhale, tip back, downward facing dog. Inhale, extend the right leg out behind you. Sweep it through crescent lunge. Feel free to drop your left knee. Look up. Pay attention to the front foot. The knee should be right underneath the ankle, so if you need to adjust and bring your foot up, exhale your hands to heart center. Inhale to twist. You can keep your hands to prayer. Take the top hand into a fist. Twist open. Exhale, plant the hands down. Inhale, shift your weight back. Peel the front toes off the mat. Stretch through the front hamstring, laying over the front knee. Exhale, shift your weight back. Press up, down through downward facing dog. Inhale, extend the left leg out behind you. Sweep it through crescent lunge on the left. Again, set up your knee, stacked over your hip, extend up. Inhale, hands together. Exhale, twist open. And stay in prayer, or I like to take a fist on my top hand. Deep breaths. Exhale, shift your weight back. Peel the front toes off the mat. Lay over the bent knee. Stretch through the front hamstring. Exhale, shift your weight forward, plant your hands, step up through, back through downward facing dog. Inhale through high plank, lower down through low plank, chaturanga, lift your heart. Cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale, tip back through downward facing dog. On your next exhale, extend your right leg out behind you. Sweep it through crescent lunge. Feel free to drop to your left knee. Reach open. Exhale, plant the hands down. Walk through the center, wide-legged forward fold. Deep inhales, deep exhales. Exhale, shift your weight to the left. Stretch through the right groin. Inhale, walk back to the front of the mat, front of the house. Drop the knee, shift your weight, pull your toes off the mat. Deep exhale. Exhale, shift back through, press back through downward facing dog. Deep inhales, deep exhales. On your next exhale, extend your left leg out behind you. Sweep it through, drop your right knee. Crescent lunge. Exhale, walk the hands down. Wide-legged forward fold. On your next inhale, shift your weight to the right. Exhale, walk back to the front of the house. Drop your right knee. Peel your toes off the mat, shift back, stretch through your front hamstring. Exhale, plant your hands to the mat, step up, back through downward facing dog. On your next exhale, extend your right leg out behind you, sweep it through, drop your right knee, turn your toes out to the corners of the mat, setting up for lizard. You can stay here or walk your elbows down onto the mat. If it's in your practice, you can roll onto the right edge of your foot, lifting the big toe off the mat. Exhale, plant your hands. And go ahead and bring your right leg into pigeon. You can stay here or fold onto your hips. Now is a great time to remind yourself of your senses. What can you hear? What can you smell? What can you see, and what do you feel? Take one more round of breath. And on your exhale, press up through downward facing dog. Inhale the left leg out behind you, sweep it through, lizard on the left. Hands planted on the insides of your feet, turn your left toes to the corner of the mat. You can stay lifted or walk onto your elbows and your forearms. On your next exhale, lift your heart. Pigeon on the left. Unsickle your foot. Back knee flat and fold onto your bent knee. One more round of breath. And on your next exhale, roll onto your left hip, swaying your feet around into a pike position. Flex the feet. Dorsiflexion. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, forward fold. Exhale, bottoms of your feet. Straight spine. Use your elbows to press into your knees and fold forward. Exhale to release. Go ahead and plant your feet underneath your knees, hands underneath your shoulders. Press up through reverse tabletop. Lift your hips, open your chest. Exhale to release. Inhale to reach up, exhale to fold. Inhale to press up. Exhale to release. Inhale to lift. Plant the feet. Exhale to lift. Exhale to release. Inhale, cross the right foot over the left knee. Twist open to the right. Relax your shoulders away from your ears, just like we did in the beginning of the practice. Exhale to unwind. Inhale. Plant the bottom of the left foot, cross the right knee, twist open to the left. Exhale to release. Go ahead and make it onto your backs. Bend your knees 90 degrees. Extend your arms out to a T. Drop your knees towards the left. Look towards your right fingertips. Feel free to add a deeper twist by grabbing the back of your right knee with your left hand. exhale to the other side. On your next exhale, take happy baby. Thread your hands through the insides of your knees, rock side to side. Modification, if you can't reach your feet, is behind your knees. Maybe extend one leg and extend the other. Maybe a little hip circles. And on your next exhale, take Savasana. Final relaxation pose. I invite you to close your eyes if you feel comfortable enough to do so. If not, focus your drishti or your gaze on one point in the room. Remember, meditation is not about clearing your mind, but rather focusing it in a productive way. So if your mind wanders, bring it back to those senses. What can you feel? What can you see? What can you smell? What do you hear? Go ahead and pause the video and spend as much time as you need in Savasana. When you're ready, play the video and end the practice together. Go ahead and start bringing movement back into your fingers, back into your toes. Maybe one final stretch, reach your arms out behind you. Stretch from your tips of your toes to the tips of your fingers, and on your exhale, bend your knees and roll onto one side of the body, cradling your head in your arms. Exhale to press your arms up to a comfortable seated position. And we will seal the class just as we began. 3 Ujjayi breaths linked together. Inhale. Go ahead and bring your hands into Anjali Mudra, thumbs to your forehead. May the rest of your week be filled with clear thought, remembering that the loudest voice that you will ever hear is the one within your own head. May it be kind and productive, and may you remember to extend compassion to yourself in the same way you would your best friend. Thumbs to your lips. May you always speak the truth and never be afraid to speak out for you or for someone else for fear of what your voice may sound like or for what other people may think. Thumbs to your heart. May you always remember the true translation of Namaste, which in Sanskrit means the light within me recognizes and appreciates the light within each of you. Namaste. Thanks, yogis. Remember to follow us on social media, Facebook and Instagram, Georgia Southern Counseling Center and Georgia Southern Student Wellness and Health Promotion. And hope you have a relaxing week. We'll catch you next time with Mindful Yoga. Take care.